For such an interesting setup to a potentially epic finale, I wish this movie ended in a more satisfying manner. After King Ivory's premiere at the Venice Film Festival all the way back last fall, I heard little bits of good buzz about it and made sure to note it down as one to check out when it did get released. From the looks of it, it had a very solid cast and it was telling a gritty crime story. I love a stripped back crime drama. I do think this movie is very solid. It just doesn't quite reach the heights that I was kind of hoping it would. Not to say that I was going into this one with some super high expectations or anything, but I think with the setup, how it was deliberately paced, I really was having some good vibes regarding this movie as I was watching it. There was lots of setup. It's stripped back. It's not as action focused as I thought, especially by the poster itself. It sets up a handful of storylines early on. One might argue it gets a little bit messy and convoluted, but I didn't find it to be too much of the case. But it definitely does take its time and its pacing, and I can respect that. It's tackling a powerful and tragic story with the ongoing drug crisis in America that seemingly never really is going to end. And that's what this movie's tackling. Without getting into spoilers, I mean, the final scene of the movie basically just tells you that. Like I was expecting, because it has a really solid cast. The performances are really good here. Ben Foster is doing another villainous role after Christie, and he's really becoming one of my more sleeper picks for one of my favorite actors working today. He's got a good name too. James Badgedale, Michael Mando, Graham Greene, even a little bit of Melissa Leo in this movie. There's a handful of just solid character actors delivering really good work. In terms of Ben Foster's character and the storyline there, how it ended felt super abrupt to me, and I just felt it was unsatisfying. In a way, I thought it was going to connect more into the final epic shootout, and it doesn't really. That's my biggest complaint with this movie, is that it just doesn't really know when and where to end, because it was at times super engaging, and there's one big shootout, and then there's one really dramatic moment involving an overdose. There were times where I was like, shit, I'm kind of hooked here. But it kind of just goes out with a whimper, and especially in the final moments, I was like, is this how it's going to end? And then it just does end, and I was like, The storyline involving James Badgedale's character's son, it's not as strong as the other storylines. It's kind of competing for the spotlight in a way. It's dealing with addiction and how this kind of epidemic affects individuals and how they can become addicted. It's interesting, and I'm glad it's in the movie, just not quite as compelling as the other storylines. I still think King Ivory is really solid. There are a lot of good parts about it. I liked that it's stripped back. I liked that it's deliberately paced. I found each of the storylines in their own way to be interesting, but I just don't think its ending is as strong as I thought it could have been, and I wish it went out with a bang. Instead, it kind of goes out with a whimper. I appreciate how it was a gritty crime drama. It does get pretty dark here, and I found it to be engaging overall. Really good, just not great. I'm gonna give King Ivory a B, and I would recommend streaming this one, giving it a shot. I think this one is going to go under a lot of people's radar because it just doesn't have the biggest distributor and doesn't have this huge marketing push. And when you get into the fall season, a lot of stuff comes out. If this video intrigued you to check out the movie, I would recommend. If you think it sounds interesting, it's definitely one to give it a shot. I want to thank you so much for watching this review. And if you have seen the movie, leave your thoughts on it down below. But if you did enjoy it, be sure to give it a like and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. And as always, look forward to more content coming soon. My name is Ben, people call me Meter, and I'll see you guys in the next one.